Hey everyone, Pastor Stephen here. This is a video I've been looking forward to making for a long time. I've got some big news regarding our return to in person worship, and I'm super excited to share all this with you. There are a lot of details that I'm going to cover today, and so this video might be a little long, and I apologize for that. But I just want to cover as many things as I can and get that information out to you and make sure everybody is in the know as possible on what's going to happen over the next coming weeks. And so please just bear with me. And I've got lots of important details that we all need to know. And because we have so many details, you may see me looking to the side every now and again. I'm looking at my notes to make sure that I cover everything today. And so, COVID 19 statistics in terms of new cases, in terms of hospitalizations, and in terms of infection rate are just about where they were in June of last year. And you might remember that that is the benchmark that we set to consider coming back for in person worship. And that is about where the numbers are. And this is largely due to the vaccine becoming more widely available. I saw some news reports about 1 in 4 Americans have received at least one dose of the vaccine. We did a small informal poll on our Facebook, and about half the people that responded said that they'd received a vaccine, at least one dose. And of course, with phase 3 opening, many more people, including myself, have begun the vaccination process. And now the tribal health systems have opened up vaccines to just about anybody who wants to get one. Their vaccinations are without restriction, and they're even vaccinating non-native people. And so if you're not in phase 3, if you're in phase 4, make sure you look into that. So now we've reached this benchmark that we've set. We always wanted our return to in-person worship to be driven by data, not how we feel, because I've been feeling like I want to come back for a long time. But we thought that would be the wisest way that we could approach the return to in-person worship without coming back too soon and without delaying too long. And now that we have reached that point, now that we have reached the benchmark, myself and the church council have decided on a date to return to in person worship, provided that the statistics continue their downward trend that they've been on for the last few weeks. So the plan is right now to have an outdoor sunrise service on the east side of the well on Easter Sunday. That service is going to be at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's about when sunrise is that morning. That's April 4th. And it's going to be set up kind of similar to the way that worship was set up last fall when we had an outdoor worship service at the well then. And so if you want to participate in that worship service, you will need to bring a lawn chair or something else to sit on. And you'll need to bring a mask so that, as you're moving to and from the place where you're going to be sitting, you'll be protecting yourself and others. And then later that morning, on Easter morning, we will have our regular live streaming online worship service at 11 o'clock on Facebook and on YouTube at the usual time. Now, the following Sunday, the Sunday after Easter, that's April 11th, we will have services in person in the sanctuary. We will return to having 2 services. The contemporary service is going to start at 9 o'clock, and the traditional service will start at 11 o'clock. Now, it's important to remember that when we do come back, we will have some restrictions in place. Our bishop has required all of the churches under his care, including ours, to adhere to the CDC recommendations when it comes to COVID 19. And so we want to honor those requirements, just because our bishop has asked us to do that. And, as part of our polity, as part of our belief in the biblical model of leadership, that's something that we want to do. But we also want to do as best as we can as a church to love our neighbors and use the best practices that we have available to us to keep others safe. So, here are the recommendations that the CDC currently has, and it is what we will do as we return to in-person worship. Now, it's possible that these recommendations might change before April, before the time that we come back. And if that's the case, then we'll update our policy as well. But for right now, these are the best practices that we can do. And here's what they're saying that we should do. If you are fully vaccinated, you may visit with other fully vaccinated people indoors without a mask, without social distancing. If you are fully vaccinated, you may visit with unvaccinated people from one household without masks or social distancing. Now, you might be asking, okay, what is a fully vaccinated person? A fully vaccinated person is a person that, if you got the 2-dose variety in Moderna or Pfizer of the vaccine, if it has been 2 weeks since your second dose, you are considered fully vaccinated. If you receive the single dose vaccine from Johnson & Johnson, you are considered fully vaccinated 2 weeks after your injection from the one dose. If you have reached that point, you are considered fully vaccinated. However, even if you are fully vaccinated, when you are in public with other people who may or may not be vaccinated, as you will be in the sanctuary of the church when we come together for corporate worship, you must wear a well-fitted mask, stay at least 6 feet away from people you do not live with, and avoid large gatherings of people. So, friends, that means for us, for our in-person worship, until the CDC changes their guidelines, when we come together for worship, we will need to wear masks and social distance while we're in worship. The pews are going to be roped off every other row to help accommodate the social distancing. We're going to ask that you sit only with people who are part of your family unit, and mask will be required for in-person worship. If you don't have a mask, we've got some available here at the church, and so we can give you one so that you can participate in worship. So that's the news. And I'd like to take a second to talk about some frequently asked questions and try and anticipate some of the questions that you might have about this news today. First question is, what about Sunday school? I'm so glad you asked. Yes. So Sunday school, we are still asking our Sunday school classes not to meet during the usual hour at 10 o'clock at the church. If you would like to meet elsewhere, you're more than welcome to do that. If you'd like to meet at the church at a different time that isn't Sunday morning, if you want to meet Sunday afternoon or during the week sometime, we can accommodate that as well. If you want to meet sometime at the church that isn't Sunday morning, make sure that you give Tracy a call and schedule that so we're not overlapping. And here's the crazy thing. Because of the new CDC guidelines, if everyone in your class is vaccinated, you can meet without restriction. You don't have to wear a mask. You don't have to social distance from one another. But that's only if everyone in your class is fully vaccinated. Now, I know a lot of the classes have been meeting outside sometimes, and you're welcome to do that. You are welcome to make arrangements, and we still have a Zoom account available for folks if you want to meet on Zoom. That's still available for you. But we are asking right now, again, for the immediate future, this is not going to be a permanent change, not by any means, but for the immediate future, we ask that our Sunday school classes, if they would like to meet outside of that hour, not in the church, or you can meet in the church, some other time during the week. Next question. Why do I have to wear a mask even if I'm fully vaccinated? That's an excellent question, and it seems kind of counterintuitive, right? Well, the CDC knows that the vaccine is effective at protecting people from getting sick. What they don't know, and they're trying to figure out right now, this is where the big research is right now, is they're trying to figure out if vaccinated people can still spread the virus to others. And that's just a big question mark. They're still doing research. We're seeing the scientific process unfold in front of us. And so until such time as they determine whether or not that's the case, they're asking people who, even if you're fully vaccinated, that when you're around unvaccinated people out in public, that you continue to wear a mask and you continue to social distance. And another big thing that the CDC is concerned about are the new variants and mutations of the disease. The more that we can mitigate the virus, the more unlikely it is that new variants and new mutations of the disease will be a problem for us. But the last thing that anyone wants is for some new variant of COVID-19 to come along and put us in this mess all over again. And so until the CDC changes their recommendations, yes, we are going to ask people to continue to wear masks while we're gathered together. And the next question, will online worship still be available if I'm not ready to return to in-person worship? And the answer to that question is absolutely. We will continue to provide the online worship experience indefinitely. I don't see that stopping anytime soon. And if nothing else, it's because the internet is the new foyer of the church. Long before people will ever step through our doors, if they want to check us out for the first time, they're going to look on the internet. And so for a person to be able to participate in a worship service, to hear a sermon before they ever step foot through our doors, I think that is an amazing opportunity for us to reach out to unchurched people, to people in our community, to people who haven't been in church in a while, to people who are looking for a new church. This is a very important ministry tool, and so that is not going away. And so if you don't feel comfortable coming back to in-person worship for whatever reason just yet, you are more than welcome to join us online and continue to worship with us online like we've been doing over the past many months. What about cleanliness? So we're going to have 2 services, right? And it's important that the sanctuary is as clean as we can possibly make it for the people who are coming in. And so we are going to have a crew of people who are going to wipe down and sanitize the sanctuary in between services. We are looking for a cleanliness czar. And so this is a great worship or ministry opportunity. If you'd like to volunteer, you don't have to clean the whole thing yourself, but just to organize our other volunteers who will help us clean, reach out to me because that's going to be an excellent ministry opportunity, and we need some help in that area. Will the worship services be different than when we were last meeting in person in worship? And the answer to that question is yes and no. Obviously, one big difference is that people are going to be wearing masks, right? And we're going to be sitting farther apart than we normally would. And so, yeah, I mean, as a function of trying to follow the CDC guidelines, our worship services will be a little different. That being said, we are going to try and keep the worship services as normal as possible. Some folks, even folks in our conference in the United Methodist Church, said that returning to in-person worship might be a good time to implement some big changes. But I talked to some folks in the mental health profession, including a licensed counselor that I trust immensely. And I talked to them about the mental health aspect of returning to in-person worship. And what they recommended to me was that we try to keep things as normal as we possibly can, because that's what people are really yearning for right now. I mean, I can't speak for any of you, but for myself, I would love to see a return to some kind of normalcy. And so we're going to try and keep the services as much like they were before the pandemic as we can in terms of their structure. And so there might be little differences here and there. For instance, we are moving the contemporary service back 15 minutes to 9 o'clock, so that is one change. And communion, at least initially, probably will not be every week. We are wanting to do that as safely and in a way that honors God as much as possible. And so we will probably go to a monthly communion model until such time as we deem that it's safe and we were able to do that while protecting one another on a weekly basis. And so those are a couple of changes that we will see, but we are going to try and keep things as normal as possible. How about the office? When will the office be back to normal office hours? Well, as you can see, I'm in my office right now, and Tracy and I have been in and out. We just haven't been keeping the regular hours that we normally would, and doing a lot of things from home. And so that has been working. But Tracy and I, we actually like being here on a regular basis. We like it when people just drop by, and we like it when we're able to accommodate folks and be hospitable to folks. And so that's actually something we want to do, is come back. And we anticipate that the office will be back to normal office hours on April 12th. Neither of us will be fully vaccinated by the CDC's definition by that point, but we will have received, both of us, our second vaccines, and that's a time that we think we can come back and keep each other and the folks who come in as safe as possible. What about other small groups besides Sunday school? If you're wondering about a small group that you're a part of, whether it's youth or the choir or the Monday night young adult group or the Bible study that I've been doing on Tuesday nights, just listen to the leaders of those groups. I'm in communication with all the folks who are leading those things up, and so that's who you need to listen to on what to do for those groups. What about extra ecclesial groups? Folks like the Scouts, like 12-step programs, that sort of thing. Again, we're going to make contact with the leaders of those groups and talk to them one-on-one about how we can return to some semblance of normalcy under the guidelines that we have. And so I'll be reaching out to the leaders of those groups as we move forward. What about this other thing that I'm thinking of that you haven't mentioned yet, Stephen? That's an excellent question. I am trying to anticipate some of the concerns that you all may have, or the questions that you all may have, but it's entirely possible that I've missed something. And if that's the case, feel free to reach out to us. Send us an email or a text, or give us a call at the office. And if, especially, it's entirely possible we may have overlooked something in our excitement to come back. And if you can think of one of those things, make sure you let us know, so that's something that we can address and we can think about, because we are trying to anticipate any problems we might have returning to in-person worship. But again, it's possible that we missed something, and so we'd actually really appreciate your help in all of that. So I think that's everything that I have for today. I'm excited. I am so excited about returning to in-person worship. I'm excited that things have taken a turn, and we are nearing the end of all this madness. And I am thankful for the God-given things that He has put in our lives to help mitigate this virus, so that we can come back to in-person worship. And so that's all I've got for you today. So mark those dates on your calendar: Easter, April 4th, and then the Sunday after Easter, April 11th. It's really exciting, and if anything changes, I'll be sure to let you know. Until we see each other again, hopefully in person soon, God bless you. Have a great rest of your day.